That's Drew.
And that's Mike.
And that's Bouldering Bobat.
Hello.
So for our listeners, Omar Bobat is the founder of Bouldering Bobat, London's original bouldering vlog. Since the first climb mini edit video uploaded in 2016, Omar has built the channel to have a community of 156,000 subscribers with over 24 million views across nearly 260 videos. Follow the links in the bio for new videos from the Bouldering Bobat crew every week on YouTube, and check out boulderingbobat.com for some cool merch or some info about submitting your own climbing videos. Omar, thanks so much for your time today.
Hello, how's it going?
It's going great. How are you today, man?
I'm just chilling in my purple room trying to look normal. How do I do that? Okay, I'm good. Yeah, I feel normal now.
Well, the lights are on this time. The first time we talked to you, pitch black.
Oh, dude, I honestly just sit in pitch blackness when I'm not being recorded. So it's how I like to live. I like to live in like a cave.
Hey,
well, I definitely want to ask you about where you came from the last time that we spoke too, because I think you were driving some crazy cars, but maybe that's not the best place to start.
Yeah, you mean on my Instagram?
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, we can. I mean, it's not that cool. I just got invited to. Well, my dad got invited, and I was like, "Dude, just take me along, man. I want to drive some fast cars," and that was it. So it looked cooler than it was, but that's social media, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, getting to drive any fast cars is pretty cool, but you weren't just driving any fast cars. You were driving. I mean, like a Honda Civic can be a fast car.
Yeah.
You were driving, right? You're driving like McLarens and Ferraris.
Drive a Ferrari. Yeah, it was pretty. Yeah, it felt pretty rad. But everyone there thought I could buy one, which was quite funny. And I was just like, "No, bro, I'm just here for the ride." Yeah, like the guy was like, "So, like, if you were gonna get it in more color, I'd be like, dude, whatever color I could afford, that is it. Like, we can't buy any of these. Yeah, what's on sale, bro?"
I'm not picky about my Ferrari's color.
Not at all.
Let's kick it back a little bit further and get to who you are, right? So, where did you grow up?
Oh, I was born here in London.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm in London right now. I lived here till I was 7, and then I moved to Singapore, and then I lived in Singapore like all my teenage years, and then I came back here when I was like 17, and then I've been here since then, back in London.
Yeah, so I want to talk a little bit about is it Tangland Trust School?
yeah, that's the school I went to, yeah.
So I was doing some research on it. I went to a small high school, very similar in the United States. Not like it's like a British school abroad in Singapore. I did not go to a British school abroad in Singapore. I went to one in Pennsylvania, but it reminded me a lot of that. And is this where you fell in love with either video games or where you fell in love with climbing?
I didn't climb then. My school was like you must have Googled it. It's like it was like a posh castle.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Like, honestly, one of the craziest things living in Singapore was just nuts. But yeah, the school was nuts. But I hated that school. It was really like, you got to do business studies, you got to get straight A's, and I was just like, oh, bro, can't be bothered. Anyway, no, I got into gaming in Singapore, so it was like pretty normal for you to go to school, you go to like play basketball for a bit, and then you'd all go LAN together, and it's like, it's not weird there. Like, it's cool to just go play computer games together. So yeah, we used to do that non-stop, and I still do that pretty much all the time now.
Yeah, you were playing some video games before we hopped on the call.
Yeah, man.
Pretty awesome.
Keeping it chill.
And so when you were living in Singapore, I guess you were pretty used to that before moving because you were living in London. London's a pretty, I guess it's not as densely populated as Singapore, but it was a pretty similar lifestyle.
No, my life changed. Like,
wow.
Like when I lived in London, we were just like, my dad kind of had like a normal job, and I just went to like a normal school. And then my dad got offered like this ridiculous job in Singapore, and then all of a sudden I was in Singapore surrounded by like all these balling kids.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this is absolutely nuts. The lifestyle was completely different. But it was cool. It's not too, like, posh people here. Everyone thinks they're like really uptight and you just like ride horses everywhere and shit. But in Singapore, it was like everyone was a bit more down to earth. Like, their parents had like some fancy ass job or something, and they just got put in this city in Asia, But it was cool because like everyone, I don't know, I guess we were just a bit privileged, so we all got to do cool shit all the time. So that's why I began wakeboarding, and when I started filming all my wakeboarding, and then that's how I got cameras on the go. Yeah, it was a conducive atmosphere to go to do things, I would say.
Tell us some more about the wakeboarding. I did not realize that you were into that at all.
Oh, bro, yeah, I used to be a big time wakeboarder. So I used to cable board all the time. We were sponsored by like one of the local shops there.
Whoa.
And then we used to go to the Philippines and compete, and that's where. But I was like always a little bit shitter than everyone else. Sorry, wait, am I allowed to swear? No.
Yeah, try not
I
to.
was a little bit worse than everyone else, and then I kind of just became the guy who like filmed everything. I don't know why it happened, but I think it was just because I was like, well, I kind of want to hang around with everyone, but I can't compete, so I'll just film everyone. Well, I used to take photos, but yeah, that's kind of where I got a camera in my hands, really.
Yeah, at the time, what were you aiming to do with the idea of recording your friends? Were you posting it anywhere?
Like, you should just see my Facebook is like just albums of photos. Just that's where they all ended up, because it was like I was not the cool kid, but I was the kid like, oh sick, we'll go like we have a sick party, we'll go like Omar will have like all these photos like done by up in a week or something. I don't know how I used to do it either. Like I would never fucking take my camera out now, but I used to just go drinking, take my camera out, didn't care, and it was just yeah. I can't remember what you actually asked me. I just went on a bit of a rant there.
No, that speaks to something too. Like it was a different time, I think, back then, with the approach to taking a camera out when you're going out in public and partying, because there wasn't just the automatic assumption that, oh, this is going to end up online attached to my name. Wow. Everybody's going to be able to easily find it. I felt like that. I went to Mike's wedding. Mike got married about a year ago, and I brought a little, just a point and shoot film camera, and people were so much more just open to like goofing around in front of the camera than it would be with a smartphone or something like that.
Yeah, no one expects you to post anywhere. It's just like, oh, we'll have these memories. Yeah, definitely. And what was I going to say? Yeah, I mean, I think one of you mentioned that you skate. Is it you, Drew?
Mike skates a lot more than I do. I am not much of a skater.
Yeah, but so when I guess the vibe's the same. Like I feel like I don't know if it's just extreme sport, or maybe just sport in general. There's just always like one dude who's just got a camera. Like he's like the camera guy. He likes to film this, and then I was just that guy.
and they typically are on the same level or just less than whoever they're with, and I think a lot of people fall into that. But there's a great opportunity for it. And I think the sport is much different than competitive soccer, I guess football, in that sense, where there's not really a place for a photographer. I guess now I guess action photography is big, but in the extreme sports side of it, you're always watching video of that with your friends. Like you've done skating, then you're gonna go watch like a skate video. And so like the filmer and that filming is such a big part of the industry, so it makes sense that
and you want to show off a bit,
Like,
I just want to you want to look cool in front of your mates and be like, look at this sick tape we made, man. Like we're killing it right now. But you go back and you actually look like an absolute twat. But at the time, you feel like an absolute god. So but then so I was doing that, and then I dislocated my knee really badly wakeboarding, and then I was like, okay, I can't wakeboard. Definitely can't wakeboard as hard now. So then I just filmed essentially all the time.
Yeah, you can get some crazy injuries from wakeboarding.
Dude, my knee shattered. Like it just went like boom when I was like 17, and I was like, no.
Oh no.
Oh, and it was the worst part was I was going around. So I used to do cable a lot. So it's like on a lake instead of behind a boat. So we're going around, and there's this girl I well fancy her, and I'm like 17, and I'm just like, oh my god, she is the light of my eyes. And then I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna do a sick trick, and then she'll be like, okay, obviously she wants to hang out with me. So I'm edging into the kicker, and I smack a big ass bend up, and I land legs perfectly straight, and my knee just goes boom like that. And then I'm just like, okay, my knee's done, and then whatever, I'm just like in pain, and I look up, she's just like not even looking in my direction, and then I'm just like, what was the point of that? So anyway, there you go, kids. Lesson learned: don't try and show off.
Do it for yourself, not for the
Do it
girls.
for
Now
yourself,
watch it,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you graduate high school,
Yeah.
and did you move back before you graduated high
Yeah.
school?
No, I graduated high school. Yeah, I left one before my A levels, so that's like 17.
Yep.
So I did 2
Yep.
years in Cambridge at
Okay.
boarding school because I hated that school, so I left. And then I went to Cambridge, which was definitely a different vibe. And then like it wasn't posh Cambridge. I know you probably think Cambridge, like Cambridge University,
Yeah.
which was there obviously, but nah, I just went to a boarding school and like everyone was just smoking weed, and that's where I just was like, I went from being like kind of like living in Singapore, like not like being quite well behaved, and then moving to Cambridge and being like, oh no, this is way more fun. We should just do this all the time. Yeah, so it was a weird change.
Yeah, I went to a boarding school as well, and I think one of the best parts for me, and I think I see this in your current life, is you got a really good idea of what the rest of the world is like because you're around so many international students. Was yours like that?
Yeah, my boarding school was. My high school was really international. My boarding school was quite a lot of Russians, loads of rich Russian dudes. Yeah, it was random. My boarding school was just weird, man. I don't know if I have a good understanding of the world either. Wait, did you say the world or people?
The world. I don't think I'll ever have a good understanding of people. That's the beauty, though. So okay, so you graduate high school, and then the nomenclature might be different because high school here versus high school there versus university versus so many different things. But your pre-collegiate days.
Yep.
Then you went to the University of the Arts in London, and you studied computer gaming and programming skills.
Yeah. So, yeah, I realized I was all right at school, like quite good at science, but I'm really dyslexic. I was terrible at English. Terrible. I wasn't very good at chemistry either. But anyway, so I was like, right, okay, I've got to go for something like I've got to go passion. I just got to go straight for the passion, or else I'm just gonna fail.
Yeah.
So I was like, right, I'm gonna make video games and learn how to program. So that's what I did at uni, and it was good. Yeah.
It's a very astute observation for an 18-year-old, right? Because I feel like so many, I don't know, in the United States, and maybe correct me if this is different in England, but I feel like in the United States, there's traditional majors, like a business major, English major, philosophy, even that. And I feel like the secondary ones are kind of like computer gaming. It might not be as in your forefront.
Less prestige.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if it's what you're passionate about, I think that's really cool that you just chose to do that. So what was the degree like? What were you guys doing?
You make it sound like I made a brave choice, but I just made the easiest choice.
Okay.
That's what I was doing. Like, it's either I go to a university and I slog it out at a course that I can't do, and then I fail, and then I have to go like, sorry parents, I failed. Or I like go for the efficiency. And I was like, look, I just go for that. And and like you say, yeah, people thought, I mean, going to art uni here is not that bad. And then computer games, they're kind of like, they kind of, people think you're like smarter, even though you're whatever, but they're just like, oh yeah, it's computers, you know, he's doing something complicated. You're like, nah, I'm just like making things move around. So yeah, it wasn't, I didn't think it was that big of a deal to do that. But sorry, what was I forgot what your question was.
So, but you learned a ton of programming languages. I saw you're proficient in like Python, C++.
Oh, not Python. I might have just put that on my LinkedIn just to beef it up.
Yeah,
but yeah, C++ and Java, I'm pretty good at.
And at the time of your school, those were, I would say, probably the main two like scripts out there that you're going to be programming with.
Yeah, because I was using Unity, so we were using C# like the whole time.
Wow. It must have been a pretty, problem solving, fun, and I feel like that translates mentally, and this might be totally wrong, and Drew, correct me if I'm out of line here in this sense, but like, I feel like climbing, I'm not a climber. I just want to preface this at all. I'm not a climber. I've climbed like twice in my life. Once was at a birthday party when I was 7, so I don't think that counts. But it's a problem-solving route, right? You're looking for the problem, and computer programming and that kind of engineering background is very much the same thing. You're coding, and there's always a bug, there's always a problem, so you're problem solving. Maybe those two help each other.
I personally don't know how. I know exactly the point you're making, and I think there could be a link there. But what I know is that anecdotally, I noticed the people who do climb, and it's actually the same with jiu-jitsu. Normally, I feel like you just get less meatheads. Like when I used to do Muay Thai all the time, meathead central. Dudes just want to slam your head into the floor. But you go to, I don't know, it's just a different crowd. I think it just lends itself because I guess it's more of a thinking game, but you can say that about a lot of sports. So it's hard to really know why all these types of people go to those sports. But yeah, you do have a point, and I do see, like I said, those type of people going there.
Yeah, even at a certain level, like I'm watching a John Florence documentary on Amazon Prime. Highly suggest anyone watches it. It's new. But even at the highest level of sport, right? These guys are thinking about surfing like a chess game, and it's much different than the casual way to do it. But okay, so let's get into, when did you start climbing? What was the introduction? We understand that you have the filming background, and that can translate over. But when did you fall in love with climbing?
I should preface, compared to the other guys, I'm a filthy casual, like dirty casual. So I think I've been doing like 4 years now, maybe like only a year before the channel started, really. Like I could barely climb when the channel started. So I haven't started that long. My friend from Singapore, he was a big climber, and he kept telling me to come in London, and I was like, man, that sounds lame, bro. Like, you want me to go climb on like some plastic holds? Like, I'm gonna get gym, dude. I'm gonna kick some pads, be a real man. And then you realize, actually, I'm just an idiot, and I should have been climbing the whole time. So, yeah.
I have a feeling I'm gonna get that realization very shortly in my life. I have a friend who's telling me all about climbing like every day.
It's just like, longevity wise, you can stay in it for like a long time. I keep thinking about that. Like, the injuries are low, and you can do it softly. Do you know what I mean? It's fun.
In fact, like, doing it softly and doing it quietly is a sign of doing it well.
Yeah, you get buff. All the hot chicks hang out at the climbing wall. Everyone's relaxed. This is the perfect place, man.
I agree. I keep telling Mike the same thing, because we bonded together over surfing. That's how we first met. And I'm like, surfing and climbing to me are very similar in that you sort of just like push everything out except the next wave, or except the next hold, or the next move you're making. But like you said, the longevity in it, it's low impact. I see guys and women doing it all the time in my gym that have got to be into their 60s.
Yeah.
And they're kicking my butt.
It's super cool. Dude, I see there's a woman who climbs at the Arch, the local gym, and I'm pretty sure she's like 80, and she's just like bam, bam, like doing Tai Chi, and she's like going up and stuff. I'm like, damn, dude, you're crazy. Like, you can do this forever. It's good. I am about that longevity.
Before we get more into climbing, I wanted to ask too, how did you keep up with your filming passion after you left Singapore? Did you venture out into other extreme sports? Did you get a new crew going out doing other stuff besides wakeboarding?
Absolutely just dropped it. Like, literally, I dropped. Well, I was mostly taking photos when I was in Singapore, and then I did do photography for A level, but that was a DOS A level. Like, it wasn't a real thing I did. So yeah, kind of just left it. I mean, at university, I took photos of like protests, and we did the whole like student photography thing, but just left it. Yeah, but that's what I had, all that gear ready to go. Like, when we started, I was like, I've got all this gear. Like, I can actually do this. I don't need to get anything. So that was a big factor.
And so you started climbing casually.
Yeah.
And when did you decide from the workout and the climbing just with a friend to saying, hey, I should bring a camera with me this time?
Yes. Yeah, so I was working, I had like loads of random jobs. So I worked at a bank for a month, or a couple of months. It was horrible. And then I did freelance programming, and then I was doing that and I was getting really lonely. I was just at home and I was like, dude, I'm just working from home. I was basically in lockdown before lockdown was a thing. I'm just working from home, not really seeing anyone. And then I realized like most of the time I was talking to people was when I was at the bouldering gym. I was like, oh, like when I'm there, I have a good time. So I was like, look, if I get one shift a week at the bouldering gym, I get free climbing throughout London. That's how it works here. So if you work in one climbing gym in London, you get free climbing in every gym in London.
Wow.
That's
Every
awesome.
every gym in England. Even when I went to America, in New York, I got into for free. I was just I work at a bouldering gym, and they're like, "That's cool, man." Like, it's like a family vibe thing.
That's
So
awesome.
that's like 90% of the reason why people work at bouldering gyms. So I was like, "Cool, I'll do it for one shift a week." And then I did one shift a week, and then I got really close with all the dudes there, and then it was like more organic. So it was less weird. I didn't really have to go ask anyone. It was just me and JP and B just shooting the crap, and we just were like bored, and we were like, right, I've seen these things online, I can do that, and then we just did it, kind of like that. Yeah, I think that's how it happened. My memory's not so good.
I mean, it seems very organic of how it started
Yeah.
and casual in that sense, and I still get the same vibe from your channel where it's not so much like it's not so much forced content. It's you're just showing the community that you guys have as it created, and you're doing fun things with each other, climbing different
Sure.
places, and so it seems pretty on point from my side. Well, I guess we'll have to find out from the other guys of what their perspective is.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not as casual as it used to be,
Yeah,
and now there's more of us and there's money involved. It
right.
definitely changes the feel of things, especially when you have contracts that you have to oblige to. I've definitely struggled finding like, because sometimes we've just got to do the YouTuber thing, and I've got to slog out like a couple episodes that it's not that I don't like them, but it's just like we've done this, like we're doing the vlogs again. Like it's like we have, it's weird, man. Like we have to maintain a base product,
Right.
and our base product is the basic vlog because we can shoot those quick. We know how to do them. We're good at them. But like a lot of the times where me and Tom will get our like creative flex is like when we can do something bigger, or like we can like I actually just like organizing stuff. Like I like organizing big trips, having it all go down. But you can't do those every week. You just physically can't. Like the time constraint of making 2 YouTube videos a week is brutal, really. But we have a solution, and it's coming, and I think it'll be all right. But yeah, it's taken a while, man. It's hard.
Yeah, well, it's definitely. I mean, you're what 3.5 years into the channel?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So how? Let's talk about the beginning of the channel. So you're just casually videoing at the gym, meeting some people in the community, and then why was the choice to upload to YouTube?
So I like everyone at the time. I mean, I was younger as well, so I was still in that. I feel like I don't do it so much now, but back in the day, I could watch someone and I'd be like almost inspired by watching them. So I was a bit of a cliche before it was Joe Rogan, and then I mean, I was 18, and I was like, yeah, let's go hunting, boys. Like, I don't really know why I liked it so much. And then obviously everyone was watching Casey Neistat, and that's what made Eric Carlson start. Like the other big bouldering YouTuber, he was watching Casey, I think, and that he was like, I can do these Casey style vlogs in bouldering. And while he was doing that, I was making Casey style vlogs of my like random, like I went on a ski trip and I went to Peru with my dad. They're on my YouTube channel, but they're private, so no one can see them.
Okay.
They're nice that copies. So I was already in the flow of making these random films, videos. I hate it when people say that, videos. And then so it wasn't weird for me. Like it was quite smooth. I was already like doing this, doing it in the background. So when B and JP expressed interest, I was like, cool, let's just do this. Like, let's just go. So yeah, and we had no expectations. I mean, if you watch the first ones, they're terrible, and like the exposure like flashes in and out. But there's something I don't know. I don't know. It's something about my personality. Like if I make something, I have no shame in it. Like it's a bit weird. Like I'm like, whatever. You didn't even make it. Like you were just sitting at home. Like not you. Sorry, I just don't know what I point. I meant just some random hater. It's just like, so I don't really feel shame in them. So it's just like they just got better and better because I was just learning each week, and I felt passionate about it. And then, oh man, sorry, the story is quite long, but
That's what we're here to do.
so we were working I was working at the counter, so I was doing like there's just menial work, just like signing people in, doing all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Then we're filming, and then the marketing job at the Arch, the climbing wall I worked for, went up for grabs, and I was like, oh, right, I could sack off this programming and I could work in climbing and just do that and just make the videos. So I knew the guy was leaving, so I started going a bit harder, like making all these videos, so that when he did leave, even though I didn't have like a uni degree in marketing, I could just be like, look, dude, I've already done it. Like, I've already got all this many subscribers, just like hire me. So, long story short, that job went up. I didn't get it, and he gave it to Tom, who at that point had become my business partner. So Tom got involved, maybe episode 4 or something like that, and he was just another random guy who started working the Arch, but he knew loads about cameras. So he got involved, and I needed someone like that because what I didn't know at the time is actually he was a really good climber, but that's not what I knew. I just knew I knew he was strong, and I knew he knew about cameras, and I didn't. As much as I knew about taking photos, I'm a bit of a camera noob. Like I'm much more of a computer nerd. So I needed his advice. I was like, what am I doing wrong? Tell me. And then he told me, and then we worked together. So they gave him the job, and I was like, I went to the CEO, and I was like, dude, you know I've been gunning for that job. You just gave it to my like business partner. That's actually like snaky. Why did you do that? And he's like, oh, I thought you would want to do your Bouldering Bobat on the side. I was like, nah, I want to get paid, man. Like, what are you talking about? So then he ended up being like, because very casual. Climbing wasn't casual. Like, I smoked weed with the CEO. Like, it's chill. Like, it's like a very casual vibe. So he ended up just paying me to do Bouldering Bobat. So Tom did Arch Media. I did Bouldering Bobat. And that, for a YouTuber who's under 50,000 subs where you're making no money, and now I'm getting paid full salary, like, yeah, dude, it's like an incubator. It's like an investment. It's like a VC fund, basically. Just like some dude just came in and was like, boom, here you go. Yeah, so that's how it all kicked off, really. Yeah.
And was that a catalyst once you were full-time working? It's called the Arch, right?
The Arch, yeah.
Yeah, the Arch and Bouldering Bobat. What did that do for the channel?
Yeah, so one, I had access to all the gyms whenever I wanted, essentially. I had access to, which is tough. Like, you have to make a good YouTube video, you've got to turn off the music, because otherwise I'm going to get claimed.
Oh, yeah.
All my audio is going to sound bad.
That's right.
But if you go to someone else's gym and you're just a random dude in the camera and you go, mate, can I please turn the music off? They're going to be like, no, no, of course not. But I worked there, so I was like, yeah, turn this off for an hour, film this, do that, and it was good because we weren't making any money. So that was good, but we had a few catalysts. Sorry, that was weird. I had Reddit. Reddit was number one. I was a big Reddit user, and bouldering was tiny on Reddit. It was tiny. No one was posting on it. So I started posting on the subreddit all the time, like obnoxiously. Like every video I made, I posted on it. And then that blew us up. That gave us like, at the time, it gave us like 4,000 views a video, which was like, we were getting hundreds of views before. Then we went to like thousands, and it was all because of that subreddit.
Wow.
But then I destroyed that subreddit. They banned bowling vlogs on there because I spammed it too hard. But the gift was already given. So yeah, because now everyone does bouldering vlogs. Before it was only a few of us, but now it's like quite normal. So that was catalyst number one, and then number two was our collab with Eric Carlson, because he was the biggest one at the time. That sent us up into the stratosphere. Well, YouTube wise, not really, but bouldering channel wise, yeah. And then our collab with Magnus Mitbo, who he is in the mainstream YouTube, and it did help us a lot, but it didn't put us next to him, unfortunately. But it definitely helped, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to ask about collaborating with him, but before I ask about that, I got to ask about the incorporation of hot sauce challenges. It's something that Mike and I like a whole lot.
Yeah.
And that I noticed going way back into your videos too.
That's
so
big.
Where does the love for hot sauces come from? And how did you get the awful idea to incorporate it with climbing?
I was just, like I said, I'm a massive computer nerd. So I was just on YouTube, like watching Hot Ones all the time. I was like, dude, Hot Ones is awesome. And this was when it just came out. And I was like, you know what is awesome about that? It's the punishment. And it's like, hot sauce is the perfect punishment because people want to do it. It's visceral, so you can see it on the screen, and everyone can kind of relate to it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm gonna. Cause, I mean, if I could have whatever YouTube channel I wanted, we'd probably be Jackass. That would be my ideal situation. Just loads of dudes drinking loads of beer and just doing really dumb stuff. But all the guys are too smart for that. So the closest I could get was getting them to have really hot sauce. I mean, if I could shoot a BB gun to their nuts, I would do that. But no one wants to do that. So yeah, hot sauce. But it just didn't get us that many views. And the guys were actually like, one time B really suffered a bit. And I think everyone was just sick of it. And it was like, we're not even getting views for it. Maybe we should tone this down a bit. And then it kind of just fizzled out. It does make me sad, but I mean, I have loads of hot sauce downstairs still. So
time to bring it back.
Yeah, I'm having a good time at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to ask about that third catalyst that you mentioned, which was working with Magnus Mitbo. And what was it like to start collaborating with bigger YouTubers and YouTubers that are in the mainstream like that?
Well, I should preface this. So like before, when we worked for the Arch, and it was quite strict. We only filmed at the Arch. Well, it was kind of like a loyalty thing, you know. You're paying me,
right?
I don't film anywhere else. Like, we're providing your marketing.
Makes sense.
But then we got fired, and then when we got fired, me and Tom suddenly were like, oh man, we need to make some money, and we need to make it fast. So we just kind of kicked everything to overdrive with that. I think that's how we reached out to Magnus. Like, I think I wrote in a video that I'd fight him, and then he was like, yeah, all right. And I was like, oh, okay. I can't really remember how it happened, but yeah, the hookup was good. And then yeah, we met Magnus, and it was quite intense because I had some YouTuber friends, but none of them bouldering. Had met Eric. But Magnus was like a different beast. Like, he's a world championship climber. Like, he's not even. It's not even that he's a good YouTuber. Like, he's actually just a savage. And like, and then I knew I had to fight him on that trip, and I was like really out of shape. Like, I had gone through like a horrible breakup, and I had just not done any sport. Wasn't climbing. Was fat. And then I was like, okay, cool. I'll fight you, Magnus. Like, just whatever you gotta do for the views, don't you?
Hey, you held your own a lot longer than I would have, man.
He held me. Okay, I'm just gonna say I didn't tap. Okay, he just like held me in a headlock and I was stuck. Okay, there was no tap. There was no choke out. Ever since, dude, after that, man, it was so funny. I was just quite sad at that time, and I just felt really gross. And then after that, I was like, that was pretty embarrassing. And then I just went to jiu-jitsu like every day for like 5 months. I was like, this is my life now.
Nice.
Like, I can't ever let this happen to me. Like, I was like, if Magnus ever does another collab, I need to be ready. But to be honest, I reckon it'll still beat me. Dude's a savage. So
yeah, one finger pull-ups.
Exactly, bro. Well, how can you compete with that?
Yeah, can't keep, no one can keep up with that.
Exactly.
So I'm curious. I'm hoping you can explain or just like take our listeners and me through what the experience is like successfully reaching out to somebody so much in the mainstream like Magnus. Like, we've sort of had similar experiences with doing this podcast and reaching out to a professional surfer that Mike and I both
Mm.
grew up looking at in magazines, and then that day comes, that realization comes, like, wow, I'm about to have we're just having Zoom calls with him, but
Yeah.
actually setting up a trip and taking a trip up to Oslo, that must have been really cool. So I was hoping you could talk about that, just from how you reached out in the beginning to how you just set up the details and collaborated with him.
Well, the hardest part for me was that I didn't know how to do it. Like, no one, I didn't really know who to ask. Like,
Yeah.
like, I
Yeah.
can't,
Like, where do you
can't
start?
ask my dad. Can't, like, oh, so if you were talking to someone on Instagram, like, he would just be like, dude, what's Instagram? So I'm like, yeah, I don't know. It just happens organically for me. The way I do it is just like, I think all guys know how to do it. It's just when you're stalking someone, you like a few photos, you leave a comment or two, and then you wait for a funny story to come up, and you go, "That's funny," and then they're like, "You're funny," and then you're like, so it's just schmoozing. But I mean, a lot of my friends have the gift of the gab, and I like talking, so I reckon that probably helps a lot. But yeah, it's just casual, just messaging them, and also I've noticed there's a thing, like, once you get a little bit big, and because we were on Eric's channel before, you're like in the group, like it's not like he's not like he's probably watching our videos, but he probably already knew who we were. So yeah, that was it. The Eric one was probably the harder one to get, because we were very small, but that was just luck. Like, he came to the Arch to do an episode, and we just kind of like skulked around in the background, like, hello, look at me. And then we like kind of talked to him a bit in real life, and then he came again. But when he came again, we were the marketing managers, so
Yeah.
I was like, cool, well, do a video. That's the job. So yeah, just schmoozing, man. Schmooze.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And I feel like you must have figured out, like, people love to talk, and unless you have, I don't know what it's like if you have like 1 million Instagram followers, but so far it's actually really manageable about how many messages you get on Instagram. Like, it's not, I think people think if you have like 50,000 followers, your phone's just going nuts. It's actually pretty chill. I read every single one of them. I can read every single YouTube comment. Like, they actually don't go that quickly, but I mean, I'm sure if you get a 60 million view video or something, it's probably nuts, but for us, it's chill.
Yeah, still, that was totally my perception, was if you have that many followers and subscribers, you got to be just inundated with comments and
maybe
stuff
just
all
us.
the time.
Maybe no one cares about me, but for us, it's pretty relaxed. Yeah,
I don't know, man. You're still averaging a significant number of views on your channel on almost every video.
Yeah, if you compare us to other bouldering channels, we're about on par. But bouldering is small. It's a small niche, so I'm under no illusion that, like, the grand scheme of YouTube is a lot of different place. But that's why I mean, probably don't want to say this on a YouTuber podcast, but I don't see YouTube as a long-term thing. It's definitely a stepping stone to something more solid. Like, for me personally, just because I don't think the limelight's. It's just, I'm gonna get paid while the limelight's on me, and I'm gonna get old and boring at some point, and people aren't gonna want to watch. So,
but I think your channel, you're set up in the same way as like a skateboarding type channel. Your content, because you're on the outside of it, you're not necessarily like, Magnus is the focus on his channel. And honestly, I would watch him climb until he's 65, because it would still be amazing. So he's got a safety net there, right? But you, with building a crew who is climbing and you're the filming, you have longevity in that model.
The crew, yeah, but it's me personally. I just think the bouldering videos, the formula doesn't have longevity. Like, Magnus can do mad things, but the reason he can is because he's done what we're working towards, which is brick and mortar. You need a gym, you need your own spot, and you need control. And, like, to have those, you need to have your own place. And Magnus had that from the beginning. And I mean, exclusive, dropping here first. We're opening a gym. I mean, we were supposed to open a gym this year, and then COVID like pushed it back till next year. But hopefully in like 6 months, we'll have our own brick and mortar place, and then it also relieves the pressure of the financial pressure of having to make loads of videos, so we can focus more on like the content we really want to make. So I can't remember why I started saying that, but yeah, brick and mortar, man. I want that.
And that seems to be a pretty opposite of what 90% of the world is going against, right? Like I feel like brick and mortar is somewhat on in retail and other industries, but it makes total sense as you say that.
I mean, you can't climb online, so
yeah,
this is you could crack that code.
Yeah. I mean, there are a few. Louis Parkinson is almost cracking that code right now. If you look him up on Instagram, he's got like a whole online training thing going on, and he's killing it. What was I going to say? Brick and mortar. Yeah, but there is a worry. I mean, in London alone, next year there are going to be something between 10 and 15 bouldering gyms, which is insane. It's like probably one of the most densely populated bouldering gym cities on the planet. But my personal opinion is it's all about area, because most people only go to what's close to you. I mean, I go to B1. I got fired from there. I go there all the time. It's like right next to my house. Like I can't be bothered to go anywhere else. Like so yeah, that's my 2 cents.
And you have a draw to the gym itself, right?
Yes. So yeah, exactly. It's a perfect storm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, the YouTube channel was the stepping stone to that gym. There's no way we would have got there without the channel itself, because I meet people through this channel, and people know who we are and all that kind of jazz.
Yeah,
just puts you on the scene, more opportunities.
So do you think you're going to utilize your notoriety from the channel to stand out from that saturation of bouldering gyms in your area?
Well, we've picked an area that doesn't have any bouldering gyms, so nice. That's the move. But hopefully that will bring some people. But I think honestly, for the content, it's going to be ridiculous. Like before, I had to ask people for permission. Even when I worked at the Arch, I won't have to ask people for permission anymore. Like we're going to be owners, so
yeah,
just ask myself.
And you can just put a sign up that says when you walk in here, this is a YouTube friendly environment. You may be on film, right?
Yeah, well, no, it's more just like we used to do with like shoot arrows at each other, and that took me ages to get that cleared because sort of ages, and like drinking in the center took me a while to get okayed. Like, there's a reason we haven't done those again, and that's because I can't do them at the gyms that I film at. They're too strict.
Right.
But if it's my gym, I can do whatever I want. So.
A very good fact.
Yeah.
So I want to get a little bit on the channel, and I think that there's some questions that I'd like to talk about regarding the channel and the creative process to it. And I think when we talk to people who have a single focus, right, not like a daily vlog, it's easy to name the title, right? Because what did I do today? Oh, fixed my car and went on a walk. Who knows, right? It's not anything.
I wish I could make that video.
It'd be a heck of a walk.
Yeah.
But so how do you come up with titles, thumbnails? What's the whole process there?
I hate it. I honestly hate it. Titles are the worst. Just because we got to be a bit clickbait. And sometimes when I'm lazy, the more clickbait it is, normally the more lazy I'm feeling, because I'm just like, just whatever. Like at that point, I've done the work. But this is the problem with our channel. I mean, me and Tom and all that, I feel like we're not like YouTubers. We're just like, why do I have to do this YouTube game? Like, can we just name it what we did? But we can't. So I guess, we try and be a bit clickbaity, not too much.
You're not super clickbaity though. I think your titling, I feel like your titling is very straightforward. Like, right. So your top videos are, I think the most clickbaity is your top video, and that's climbing the world's highest artificial climbing, right?
Yeah. I mean, we literally did that video for the title. Like we went for the clickbait. Like the climbing was easy, but I saw it. And I was like, dude, if we get here first, like, that's going to blow up. So, that's what. Anyway, carry on. That was for the clickbait.
Yeah, but the other one's like, how to dyno 101. body position 101,
Sure.
top 10 tips for beginner boulders. Like those are all, they're not, I mean, they might be clickbaity because they are attracting, but like if you're starting, and this is how I rolled into your channel, right? Is because Drew is such an avid climber, I was like, we should bring on some climbing. And you type in climbing or bouldering, and your videos are going to show up because they're exactly what a beginner would want to do.
Well, I did that on purpose. Like, it's just like you can't make those videos all the time. We haven't made the new ones of those because I feel like they're normally a one and done. But we did them because I was like, look, we need to cast a wide net. Like, what most people are just gonna, like you said, you're just gonna Google bouldering, like, and basically I'd done it, and I do everything. Like, that's what I did in video editing. It's what I do when I went climbing. It's what I did when I started jiu-jitsu. Like, you just YouTube it. So I was like, what would I YouTube? And because I was such a noob at the time, it was so easy for me to think of things because I was just like, guys, can you just teach me it? Like, and then I'll just film it. Like the holds 101 video, that was like our biggest video at the start, and that was just me being like, I don't know what all the holds are called. Can someone please tell me? And then we just filmed it, and so either we go with a clickbait concept, which clickbait is a bad connotation word, I guess, but like tutorials or like the videos you said, or if it's a normal video, then I have to go a bit more clickbaity on the title and the thumbnail because we didn't do anything too extraordinary in the video. But yeah, I find it really hard. I find it so hard to keep a balance of like integrity and not feeling like a cheesy. And sometimes I feel cheesy, and sometimes I don't. Right?
Yeah, I think you got to find that balance, right? It's a game. It's 100% a game.
It's a game.
Yeah. But I mean, YouTube is the #2 search engine in the world.
Yeah, but then me and my mate were talking about this, and when you think about it, like big videos, some of them they've got 1 million. Like our biggest video, they got 1 million views. That's nothing. Like the population of London is 9 million or something like that. And I keep thinking like, damn, there are so many more people in the world like that are not even online, not even on YouTube, or not even in English-speaking YouTube. So I don't know why I said that. It's just some tangent thought I've been thinking about.
No, it is.
No, I was thinking about that same thing a couple weeks ago because I was watching a Spanish language music video, and it had like it was close to like 100 million views or something like that. And I was thinking like, this video has been around for 2 years and I've never heard of it until this summer. I'm sure if I asked Mike, he would have never heard of it too. But to think that there's 60 million other people in the world that are like, oh yeah, that's a great song.
Yeah. And you're like, dude, who are these 60 million people? I've never met them. Like,
it's
crazy. Like if you go on Facebook, man, like Eric was doing a post on Facebook, and some of our videos just get randomly posted by like Lad Bible and stuff. And they're getting like 70, 100 million views. I'm like, who are all these people? Like, where are these? Like, who are these? Like, it's just all middle-aged mums, isn't it? It's all the mums just being like, oh my god. But yeah, it's weird, man. The internet's a weird place. I try and keep the perspective about it, like.
Perspective-wise, you're not far off, right? Like, we're talking about SpaceX. So this is a multi-billion-dollar business. They just sent a person to space, multiple people to space. That video has 4.1 million views. So like your video being of drop in a bucket here, you're thinking, it's just a different perspective of what you want. And by community, I don't want to say how big the community is because I've messed that up before. But the climbing community is relatively large. If you would look at like you said in the London area, there's 15 gyms, and if you averaged the capacity of each one of those gyms and said there's 200 members, you're well outside of the realm of what that is. So you don't belittle that.
Yeah, I know. I'm not like I'm not crying about it in the shower, but I just I like to think about it. Just like don't want your ego to get too big, do you?
Yeah, you also have opportunity, right? Where else could you take the model and the business to grow it, right? And having your own gym, if I've seen you have parkour on yours, you have the ability to expand outside of that into the same kind of likeness community. You could put a Ninja Warrior course in your gym.
Yeah. We could do whatever we want. I mean, I know Jake wants to put a Ring of Fire, and I'm not sure how I feel about that.
A Ring of Fire would be pretty intense. Jump through it.
Pretty intense. Yeah, I was going to say something and I forgot what it was. Sorry, carry on.
So we talk about titles.
Mm-hmm.
What about like when you're coming up with these challenges, like climbing the world's highest artificial climbing route?
Mm-hmm.
How is it? So you thought of that video before that? You basically like, we're gonna go film this specific item. I know what the title is. I know where I'm going. My thought process with it.
Mm-hmm.
You plan that whole thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then other videos, you're at the gym and you're just like, hey, we're gonna film this, or we're just filming our lives. How do you plan for your weeks? Like, is it, I know 10 weeks away, I'm going on this trip, I'm going to film these videos? Is it
I would love to say we were that organized, but like, honestly, it's just a big WhatsApp group. And I go, boys, who's free on Wednesday? And then they go like, oh man, I'm not. And then I'm just like, okay, Thursday. And then we just do that for like a week. And then we finally get a day in. But we have more recently, well, I should say the other guys, they all have jobs. So like, it's not so easy to organize 6 guys. That's why all of us together is quite, actually, it's not that often we do that in a video. Just because logistically it's impossible. So, but we got a bit more sophisticated now. I say we're sophisticated. Literally all we said is every other Friday we'll film. So like we've just set a day for it. So that's a bit better. But then the bigger videos, they're fully planned out, but not the shooting of it. Sometimes a bit, but most of the time, we get the group together and then we know what we're going, and then we just make the filming up on the spot. So yeah, it really varies, like, because it's just difficulty as well. Like going to Switzerland and organizing all that stuff is a lot more complicated than just rocking up at a gym. That was a tough one. Like we had to film on that day because I had to meet my baby in Zurich. I have a child. I just said that. Anyway, that's fine. I'm going to meet my child in Zurich that night because my girlfriend was arriving and I was like in another part of Switzerland. So we had to climb the dam. I immediately like got in our car and then I just like went off. And it was it was mad. And it was like, they wouldn't let us climb because at the bottom, to make sure that no one just goes up there and dies, they don't put any holds up for like 10 meters. And there's a ladder there that you go to the restaurant and you sign all the forms and then they give you the key for the ladder and you can go. But when we get there, they're like, I'm in an iron about this key. And then she's like screaming at us and telling us, we don't have the key. And I'm like, do we have to film? I have to film right now. Like, I don't give a shit that you don't have the key. Sorry. I don't care that you don't have the key. I need to film now. And then they're just like shouting in Italian. And then we just sent it. Like we just literally just shimmied the dudes up like over the ladder and just got them on the route, and we just made it happen. But it's stressful. Yeah, it was stressful. It's not. It looks all fun in the video, but that's because I've cut all the bits out where I'm like profusely sweating. Like, are we gonna get arrested? Am I gonna make it home? Am I gonna even meet my girlfriend in time? Like, so you know,
that did look super fun. It looked like a very fun.
That was a fun trip. Yeah, that was a good trip as well. And then we got to pop the champagne, and I hired a rental car, and I paid for like a VW Polo, like a really normal car. And I get there, and they're like, "Mate, we don't have your car." And I was like, "Oh, like I'm gonna get downgraded." And they're like, "Nah, we can give you a Mercedes." And I was like, "Oh, okay.
I guess I'll take that."
So we had like a bright white Mercedes, brand new, just driving through Switzerland. And I was like, "This is the life, man. I've made it." Yeah, it's good times.
So
I was hoping to hear some about your own climbing journey too, and sort of how, if you've been motivated to document that on YouTube. I noticed a lot of the comments when you do appear in videos climbing, people are super psyched about it, and they're always like, "We want to see Omar climb a bunch more."
I don't know, man. I just like, I don't know what it is. I just like being behind. I just hate. I like attention, but I don't like too much attention. It's like a real weird thing. Like, I like having a bowling channel, but I would never want to be Magnus. Like, I don't want to be that guy. I like being number 2, not number 1. Just because maybe I'm a bit more, I don't know, I like to chill. But also I'm crap. I feel like I'm just a bit crap, and I hate filming it. I like watching good climbers, and I feel like when I watch myself, I just feel like a bit embarrassed sometimes. So I don't really like it, to be honest. Like, but I do know that I'm a unicorn, and I do put myself in episodes because I know, like, it's good for the channel and people love it. And to be honest, before lockdown, I was feeling like when I'm feeling strong and I'm climbing lots, and then I'm more keen, and I was feeling strong, and then like just COVID this year, it's just like kind of annihilated everything.
Yeah.
Because I've just been eating pizza for like 2 weeks now, and I've got 2 more weeks to go. So yeah.
Have you been able to keep up with your own climbing at all during lockdown?
No, everything's closed. We're in like full lockdown in London, so no gyms, nothing. So I've just been going to bike rides. So my cardio is all right, but my muscles are wasting away, man. And I get this weird thing. Have you ever not climbed? How much do you climb a lot?
I honestly just started at the beginning of this year, so I'm still very new into it. Yeah.
Well, I get this weird thing, man. Like when I don't climb for like a couple of weeks, my hands shed like I'm a snake. Like my whole hand is just like, hey, it's time for a new hand, and I'm just like, what? And it's not just me. Like my ex gets it, my friends get it. It's just like, it's really weird. So I don't know why I told you that, but that's just goddamn snake over here, man.
I would love. I think there's a good perspective of watching someone who's not like top tier climbing. Because that would be great for me to understand like how it might look if I actually went and climbed. So I would love to see that. Toss yourself in.
I feel like the view is the thing is the views definitely say tell us otherwise, and then that kind of reinforces my own like I don't really want to be on it, and then I'll just be like, yeah, the views it doesn't even matter, so I won't do it. It's like a feedback loop.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I probably will be on more, especially now I'm climbing more. So it just really depends on like my love for climbing. It goes up and down, especially when you do it for like work. It changes it as well.
Yeah.
Like maybe like I don't like becoming a bouldering YouTuber has kind of made going to a bouldering gym, my local, like a bit weirder now, or because I'm just so on the scene, I can't just like chill. I can't turn up like really baked anymore because someone's going to say hi to me and I'm just going to be like, what? I'm sorry, I don't know what you're saying, but like, I don't know. This sounds like this is such first world problems, but it's definitely something I think about.
It's become a bit of a job, and now you have to kind of treat it that way.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. I think that's how the channels end up changing that way, where if you're not expecting it because you're doing it as a fun hobby, the potential of it becoming a job and treating it that way might come into play.
Yeah.
And we've talked to others who have gotten stuck in a kind of a way that they didn't want it to do it, and now they're having to transition their channel somewhere else because that's where their passion has drawn to.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to have a gaming channel, but just can't be bothered to start again, you know what I mean? So
yeah. But I mean, you have a platform to speak it out on, so you could
yeah, but you know what's funny? I think there's something about being a group that's different. Where Powerful was a group, and a lot of the guys like Tom and Jake, they've got big Instagrams, but it's like 3 of them. I think people like us as a group. Like it's quite hard for us to like splinter off.
Yeah.
And I'm like the least followed, which is okay. I'm not complaining about it, but then it has its own limitations. So I can't go then do my own gaming channel. Well, I could, but it would be a lot more work. Yeah. So I kind of, do you know who Storrow are, the parkour guys? They're like a huge parkour channel. They got like 6 million, 7 million subscribers. I'm basically trying to model we try and just copy them at this point. Like,
okay.
Because they're a group, they do extreme sport, I guess climbing. You can count as extreme sport, maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
So they do a sport, and they're a group of dudes, and they've just been doing it longer than us, and it just kind of seems like that's kind of the train road that we will be following. Don't know where I was going with that again, but there you go.
I think it makes sense, though. Very, very true that if you broke away, it might change your channel for good. And I think people go because they like the crew.
Yeah.
And so one of the questions I had about the crew is, how do you confirm someone has become part of the crew? Right? Like, is there,
I think about this all the time, you know? Because like that's so funny, man. Yeah, because people come and they go, don't they? But nah, the core is the core. I mean, we've been mates for time now, and I hang out with B and JP a lot outside of like work. So I don't know. It's kind of just set now. Like before, it was a lot more fluid, and now it's less fluid. Just because we're more of like an established thing, and we have our own routine, and now we kind of invite people on, and they kind of, I don't know, the vibe is that they're guesting now, because they think it's a show. Do you know what I mean? But before it was kind of just a get together. I would just literally message people like, "Look, I'm filming this session. Come down if you want to." But now it's like, "Come join us." So I think this crew is done. I think the crew is locked in, and there are staple members that come and go. But they come and go. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know how to explain it. You feel it, man.
Yeah.
it's brotherhood.
When you know.
Yeah.
So, we talked about like the beginning of your channel and getting a couple thousand or 100 views. When your first video hit 1 million views, what was that like for you?
Man, I mean, I want to sound so down. When I started YouTube, I dreamt about that, man. I dreamt about having a plaque on my wall, which I have right there. I dreamt about all of that stuff. And what I realized was it wasn't, I don't know, it's not worth it. I mean, it's worth it, but it's not what I was doing it for. I actually just want to be busy. I think I like just doing stuff and talking to people. That's actually really what makes me happy, is like being with the guys and having a good time, and filming it is just how we get to do that. And the views are just another affirmation that it's going well. But I find, like, me and Tom talk about this all the time, I have to uninstall the YouTube Creator app like on and off, because I hate my mood being dictated by numbers. Because like you feel it, like you post a video and like people don't like it, and you're like, I spent time on that, like, and then people write something mean, and they're like, and you're like, no, you're actually talking to me though. Like, I made that. It didn't just come out of nowhere. So yeah, I kind of try to ignore it, to be honest. So 1 million was really nice, and I definitely told my mum about it. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not the same. But our 1 million views all came very gradually. So I think if you had a video that instantly blew up to like 100 million, I think your feeling would be pretty ecstatic. But for us, it was all a slow burner. So
I don't think that your analysis of that is down at all either. I think coming to the realization that it's not about just getting the plaque, it's not about just getting 1 million views, because like you said, you know, you sort of, even if you hit that, you're not just going to stop. You got to keep busy. And so that should just be a metric on you going down the right road and doing the right thing. And I think having the motivating factor being just like, getting together with your mates and creating the content for fun. I don't think that's a down analysis at all. I think that's very uplifting.
Well, I think, you know, I guess it's just not the thing that most people say, but really my goal, since, it's going to sound cheesy, but maybe since I was 18, since I really smoked loads of weed and listened to loads of Joe Rogan, and I was just like, I kept thinking, like, I don't think it was what he was saying. It was just like, this dude lives the lifestyle he wants to live. He gets paid to do it, and he's going to die happy. And I just kept thinking, I was raised not by my parents, I was raised by my parents. No, I was raised by wolves. But no, I was raised by my parents. And then in school in Singapore, it's all about make money, cash in, be like a big dog in business. But it's just like, why? Like, I get 2 days off a week. I'll spend it at the pub. Like, that's not what I want to die on. Like, I want to just do sick stuff all the time. And to do that, I need free time and I need to get paid. And YouTube is just like synced up to that, because some days I can do an edit in a day, so I can do a day filming, a day editing. I have the rest of the week to do whatever I want, spend it with my family, go do other sports. Like that's why I think I enjoy. But it's hard to maintain that in your mind all the time because like it's not an immediate satisfaction. So yeah, something I think about a lot. And I think more people would probably be happy if they thought this way. But I don't know.
I completely agree. I think if as a society we treated salary and earning money like we do collecting views on YouTube and just treat that as a metric, as an indicator of living a life that you're proud to live.
But I should preference
striking that balance then.
I should preference that I have a privileged life. Like there's the reason I have.
Me too. And I'm sitting here thinking how do you approach this? How do you express that same idea without coming across? It's just like, well, you've had the privilege of.
But like, what am I going to throw that away? Like, this is the life I got born into, and I'm just not. I'm just going to maximize it. Like, feels weird to say that, but like, basically, I don't look down on someone who does not live the same way because everyone's born different. They have different circumstances, a different life, a different amount of rent to pay. Like.
But you're doing it for the right reasons, right? I think there's so many people who get into YouTube because they want to get 1 million views right away, and they don't realize that it's a long haul. And if you're not passionate about what you're doing, there's no reason to start the channel. Because if you're looking for 100 million views tomorrow and you're just sitting in your basement, you know, you're not going to get there right away. I mean, Joe Rogan cashed in on success and fame, but even if you go and talk to him, I'm sure he'd tell you to get to where I was before I started my podcast was a long time. And he has what's his episode rating at right now?
Well, he talks about that too, how it started with him just getting together and messing around with some friends and just talking, and it just morphed into something.
1564. He's at episode 1564.
Oh,
so it's people don't realize like you have 259 videos that we can see on your YouTube channel.
Yes.
Right. So it's not just the everyday that you get in. And if you don't love climbing and if you don't love going and hanging out with your friends, then why is there a point to even have a channel? It's not about, then you're stuck.
I don't even have to love climbing, man. Like it is just the moments for me. Like, just the friends, man. Like it sounds super lame and it sounds like Hallmark, but like,
it doesn't at all.
If you're in lockdown, you even feel it, man. Like just being in your room for a day, you're like, oh, I'm a bit down. You just go hang out with your mates for like, even if they're people that kind of annoy you, just like talking and being around people is really, I mean, it's just what your body's made to do, I guess. Like, we're social creatures. We just play all these weird games about like making cash and being popular. But don't get it twisted. Like, I'm not sitting here like Yoda, just being like, no views, no problems. Like, I think about it and it stresses me out, but I just try and think about why I'm being stressed out and what it really is. Like, you still can feel those emotions, just you don't have to make it. Just it doesn't have to be a big deal. Like, just let it be.
It doesn't sound lame at all, though, because honestly, it's the same reason why we're here on our podcast and situation. I could care less about anything in the world. I just wanted to do something with my best friend, and this is the reason why we're doing it. Is like we get to meet people who are passionate and tell us amazing stories about why they got to where they are. And the reality is, it's like because I love what I do, and we're chasing the same dream. It's just why be here if this is like because we're like forced to be here, we wouldn't do it, right?
Yeah, definitely, there's no, I don't think I could ever have an office job again. It's gone for me. So the free life is the only way.
Yeah, that's lucky. Well, I appreciate the time that you gave us today, man. It's been amazing to talk to you. I think that there's great stuff in the stories that you tell. And I'm really stoked because I think there's more to come for the channel and for the crew. And I look forward to watching you guys building out that gym, because I think it'll be super fun content to watch a bunch of friends building a gym and having so much gym experience. You're going to build I'm excited to see what the mind of the crew comes up with.
That's a dream.
It's only me and Tom involved, but everyone's going to have a little part to play. So
they'll get a little route named after them or something like that.
Nah, they're going to get jobs, man. They'll be all right. Yeah, cool, man. Well, thanks for having me. Honestly, I had a good time. I mean, who doesn't like
thanks,
talking about
Omar.
themselves? So.
Yeah, yeah,
And to be honest, I like talking to you guys. It was fun.
yeah.
It was a lot of fun. You're really funny and you got great stories. I'd love to talk to you again.
Man. I'd swipe right on YouTube. I saw you on a Hinge, bro. Don't worry. All right, man.
We'll link your merch, and we'll link all the bio, everything in the bio in the show notes here. Make sure you go check it out. Join the crew via the social way, and we thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.
Thanks, Omar.
for having me.